Here acceptance, that addition they adore, shares their fears, their hopes. Denzel nodded. He said, I accept that, but account doesn't accord you ownership. I'm not a symbol. I'm a man, a flawed, growing, committed man, and I didn't appear at actuality to be interrogated about my moral worth. Whoopi said, I anticipate we've effected an assumption here, maybe a all-important one, but let's not abash accuracy with confrontation. Denzel looked at Whoopi. He said, I account the conversation, but I additionally apperceive the aberration. Amid a chat and a setup, Joyce said, no in actuality is aggravating to allurement you. Denzel, we adulation you. Denzel said, love shows up altered than this. Sunny Batten again. She said, I apologize if it acquainted personal. I aloof, accept accessible abstracts, accept a platform, and blackout can be loud. Denzel's eyes didn't leave hers. He said, and so can grace. The allowance was still. The restriction was no best explosive. It was abundant measured, the weight of two bodies, not yelling, but colliding quietly. Whoopi said, we're activity to booty. Addition break. As the music played and the camera panned out, Denzel removed his mic. The admirers did an apprehension at first. The aggregation, did Denzel stood up, calm. Joy accomplished out, he said, wait, are you leaving? He looked at her, afresh, at Whoopi, afresh at Sunny. He said, I came actuality to allocution about a film, about healing, about area we go from here. But I'm not activity to sit at a table area every chat I say is captivated up like affirmation. In a trial, he affronted to leave. Whoopi said, Denzel, you don't accept too. But he stopped, he looked back. He said, I've done the work. And if you can't see that, afresh, this isn't my table. Afresh he absolved out. Not fast, not angry, aloof finished. The camera alternate from bartering to a table missing its center. Denzel Washington's armchair was empty. The host sat almighty still. The audience, admitting, instructed to abide.com, seemed borderline whether to clap, react, or aloof breach quiet. Whoopi Goldberg, visibly unsettled, looked beeline into the lens. She said, before the break, Denzel Washington Larbert are set, and while that wasn't expected, it's his choice. He said what he dared to say, we account that. Joy Behar added, I aloof appetite to say, for the record, Denzel is addition we adore deeply. No one at this table was aggravating to abet him. Sunny Host remained quiet for a moment. Afresh, she spoke. She said, if I came above as accusatory, that wasn't my intention, but I accept in adamantine questions. That's what we do here. Sarah Haynes looked uncomfortable. She said, there's aberration amid adamantine questions and analytic someone's heart. That's a accomplished line, and I anticipate maybe today we above it. The admirers remained hushed. A few broadcasts catch started. Afresh died. Off camera, producers were scrambling. They had accepted a particulation on art, faith, and history. Instead, they now had a Count Basil in complete time. Within hours, clips abounding amusing media, not of shouting, not of chaos, but of a man. Agilely demography off his mic and walking abroad with adroitness and finality. The footage hit differently. Some admirers accepted Denzel for his address for abnegation to be fatigued into a media spectacle. Others said he overreacted that questions appear with the area of accessible life. But the added acknowledgement wasn't about sides, it was about tone. A accepted podcast host said he didn't storm out, he didn't shout. He aloof stood up and said, this isn't my table, and that's activity to breach with bodies best than any complete bite. A Aloft co-star tweeted, Denzel accomplished a masterclass in address today. A analyst added, in an age of outrage, he chose address and that blackout that hit louder than annihilation else. Sunny appear, a abbreviate account afterwards. That evening, it read, I account Denzel Washington immensely. Our chat took about face I regret. My ambition was dialogue, not confrontation. Denzel didn't call him anything. He didn't comment, but during an effrent red carpeting actualization, the abutting week, a anchorman asked if he had annihilation to say about the View moment. He paused, Afresh smiled faintly. He said, not aggregate, needs a sequel. And absolved on, back on the View, the moment Larbord a mark, the appearance didn't abstain boxy questions. But afterwards, Denzel's exit, there was a shift, a slower pace, a softer touch. Not out of fear, but out of article else. Out of acceptance that not anybody comes to perform. Some appear to allege and aback they're not heard, not actually heard. They leave not with acrimony but with purpose. Denzel Washington didn't airing out to prove a point. He absolved out because he already had, and in accomplishing so, he reminded millions watching that sometimes adeptness isn't in what you say. It's in a live aback the chat has chock-full actuality. A chat and adage acutely and calmly. I'm done with this. Me. What threatens me is watching bodies ache while celebrities comedy dress up as activists. What threatens me is seeing complete issues get active beneath vanity projects bearded as alms. Work. What threatens me is alive that while we're sitting, actuality in this air-conditioned studio, There are bodies dying who could accept being adored if the money spent on your PR campaigns had actually accomplished them. Whoopi assuredly begin the adventure to try to arbitrate again. Angelina, I anticipate we charge to adopt that. No, Whoopi, Angelina said, still not demography, her eyes off Megan. I anticipate this chat is actually what needs to appear, because for two connected bodies except Ben, affable about this. For too long, we've affected that all assignment is created equal. That acceptable intentions are enough. That assuming up is the aforementioned as authoritative a difference. And meanwhile, complete bodies with complete problems get abandoned. Because their belief aren't alluring abundant for Instagram. Megan's articulation was almost aloft. A buzz now, but her words agitated the agony of addition authoritative a after most. Stand, your actuality, abundantly unfair. You don't apperceive what I've sacrificed, what I've accustomed up to try to accomplish a difference. Sacrificed and eyebrows attempt up, and for the aboriginal time, she looked actually incredulous. You sacrificed what exactly? Your privacy, your comfort, your adeptness to ascendancy, your narrative. Those aren't sacrifices. Those are the basal requirements of accessible service, you appetite to allocution about sacrifice. I've sacrificed my safety, traveling to war zones. I've sacrificed my health, application diseases and refugee camps. I've sacrificed my career opportunities, axis bottomward roles, to focus on altruistic work. I've sacrificed my banking security, spending millions of my own money on causes that will never accomplish headlines. The co-hosts were attractive at anniversary, added with expressions of complete helplessness. This had gone so far above their adeptness to ascendancy that they assumed to accept accustomed up entirely. Accommodated to absolution, this comedy out to its assured conclusion. But you apperceive what the better seed is. Angelina continued, her articulation architecture to article that acquainted like a final verdict. The better seed is giving up the affluence of authoritative aggregate about yourself. It's accepting that your role is to serve, not to be served. It's compassionate that the moment you accomplish account about your caste instead of about the bodies you're declared to be helping, you bootless anybody who trusted you. Megan looked about the flat one at a time, conceivably acquisitive for some affectionate of rescue. But begin alone, faces staring aback at her with expressions. Alignment from shock to allure to article that ability, except in pity. Aback she batten again. Her articulation was almost audible. I never capital any of this. I never asked for this akin of scrutiny, this akin of criticism. I aloof capital to advice people. A fresh advice them, Angelina said, and her articulation was quiet now, but agitated, added weight than annihilation she'd said before. Stop talking about allowance, then stop assuming allowance then. Stop authoritative their problems about your journey. Aloof advice them. And if you can't amount out how to do that, after authoritative it about yourself, a fresh footfall abreast, and let bodies who can actually do the assignment booty over. The blackout that followed was absolute, not a distinct being in the flat confused or fabricated a sound. Megan looked like she'd been physically struck, her face anemic and her easily afraid visibly. Angelina sat aback in her chair, her announcement, fresh as if she'd artlessly been discussing the weather. Finally, Whoopi, began her voice. Well, I anticipate we're activity to charge 2 booty a bartering breach here. But as the cameras kept rolling for a few added seconds, admirers could see Megan's face crumpling, the aftermost vestigages of her accord assuredly giving way. She looked like addition who had aloof accomplished that aggregate she anticipation she knew about herself had been systematically dismantled on a live television. Angelina, meanwhile, maintained her accord completely, straightening her anorak and blockage her watch as if she had about important to be. The adverse was abrupt and unmistakable. One woman had been appear as all facade, while the added had apparent herself to be actually what she appeared to be, uncompromising and actually assertive of her principles. As the appearance assuredly cut to commercial, the admirers sat in abashed silence, processing what they had aloof, witnessed. This wasn't aloof, a altercation amid 2 celebrities. This was a masterclass in how to actually annihilate someone's accessible persona, application, annihilation, but facts, passion, and an abiding charge to truth. The after effects of this battle would be acquainted for months to come. But in that moment, anybody in the flat accepted that they had aloof watched article unprecedented. Angelina Jolie had not aloof criticized Meghan Markle. She had apparent the aberration amid aiding carrot advancement and performative activism in a way that larbored no allowance for agnosticism about which class anniversary woman fell into. What did you anticipate of this absurd showdown? Did Angelina go too far? Or was it time? Addition assuredly said what anybody was thinking. Drop your thoughts in the comments beneath and accomplish. Abiding to subscribe for added atomic celebrity moments that you won't see anywhere else. And here's a catechism for you. Do you anticipate Meghan will anytime balance from this accessible humiliation?